Hello, I'm Uzi Baram, professor of anthropology, and this mini class, The Multiple Layers of Heritage Today, is my introduction to heritage history and the past today, a course I'm offering in fall 2021. I'm going to start by letting you see this empty field. In the distance, between the trees, you might see a little blue from the Manatee River. It's a location about 10 miles north of New College. And there's more than trees and grass and remains of wooden structures at this place. There's a magic here. That magic is heritage that took information that came from archives, that came from archaeological excavations, that came from oral histories, and animated the past in history. And that magic is heritage. I've worked with community members at that location where I engaged in archaeological research, and that research was able to bring out a history for freedom-seeking people that has led to festivals in the pre-pandemic days of 2018 and 2019, organized by an incredible community leader, brought together by a group of scholars that had crafts and foods and music so that people whose ancestors found freedom at the banks of the Manatee River at that site could return and walk on the land where they had been. And there was a tremendous enthusiasm for this place that has now led to it being created as a city park. Heritage, history in the past today, is a chance to explore that magic, how heritage adds such value to a place. The prospectus for the course, well, we're going to be looking at that term heritage. I like courses that look at one simple word and really open them up. And so we're going to explore the multiple facets of that heritage component, concept, and aspect of our lives. I'll make it clear that heritage is a focal point of legislation that's used to protect antiquities. It's also about how people conceptualize their ethnic national identities, and it's become a resource for tourism. It's a well-known word, but the implications are under studies. Our approach that we'll take to heritage over this semester comes out of my disciplinary training in anthropology, and we're going to be looking at the issues in the contemporary world for the heritage concept. When I teach, it's not just about conveying facts and content, but also making an argument. And the argument that I'll be making and sharing with you and looking for critique and support is that heritage is central in social relations today. And we'll look at that by thinking through and engaging both theory and case studies on heritage. As you probably know, heritage is everywhere. There's heritage months, there's places that make heritage, UNESCO is involved, you can get sweet tea from Tallahassee, that's heritage, there's places named heritage, there's holidays, there's events, there's parks, there's museums, and heritage has many meanings, many values, and many uses. There are many strands to heritage, and we'll delineate them. We'll start organizing them critically. We'll think about how heritage plays out in books, in museums, in films, in heirlooms, in places, in memories, in our very sense of our identities from DNA onward. We'll continually look for and try to answer what is heritage, and we're going to go through both the academic aspects and the social aspects. We'll look at terms that are part of heritage like inheritance, traditions, monuments. We'll think about what's remembered by individuals, groups, nation states, and the UNESCO World Heritage List. And we'll wonder, and I'll open up, because it's constantly about opening things up to how heritage is changing more. We'll look for definitions, and we'll think about how heritage is the past and the present. We'll consider how heritage is a contemporary activity with far-reaching results, and I'll follow some of the scholarship that refers to heritage as social action. I'm most excited to explore the issues of heritage as identity in this neoliberal globalized world of ours. Right? There's spiritual aspects. Wonder as a social scientist along with you, whether heritage belongs alongside race, class, gender, and sexuality as an important feature of identity. And we'll look at UNESCO and its World Heritage List and that concept that the United Nations has put forward of outstanding human value for certain places, what the implications of that in our world. If you're not aware, UNESCO has a World Heritage List that lists over 1,000 places. You can see them as dots on the map. And these are places that are supposed to be important to all of us. And that notion of a common humanity, common history, and national identities and group identities, individual identity, is what makes heritage such an interesting anthropological question. And I want us to delve deep into it, wonder about it, and hopefully reach some conclusions about heritage in our world today. I'll stress that heritage is serious politics, that there are places that are targets of terrorism because they're heritage locations. I'll discuss the intersections of heritage and nationalism and resistance to various visions of heritage, whether we look at what Daesh, ISIS did in 2015 in Syria, the constant struggle of Greece to get their marbles back, or the issues with the Confederate flag, will recognize that heritage is serious politics. As much as heritage is serious politics, it's also kitschy, that we'll wonder whether heritage is just another thing for consumption. We'll look at museums and museum stores. We'll look at heritage tourism. We'll wonder why potato chips seem to have identities associated with various places, and ask, is heritage for sale? And the critical follow-up, what are the implications of that? We'll look at heirlooms, we'll look at commodities, and we'll look at places, and we'll look at serious places, significant places, and silly places as well. It's amazing how much that word, that magic word, heritage, is able to open up places so they become significant, become real in our social life. The course takes as its starting point for those many layers of heritage that we're part of today, a heritage explosion. It's been going on for a couple of decades. It hasn't always been, but it is now seemingly hegemonic. And so out of the complexities and cross currents, we'll think about issues of remembering and forgetting, commemorating and commodifying. We'll be constantly exploring issues of social power, social identity, nationalism and globalization, neoliberal economics, and subaltern resistance. The course has several goals. I want to make sure students at the end of the semester know the theories, debates, and terminology regarding representation, commodification, and authenticity of the past. I want there to be a good consideration of the difference between history and heritage. I want us to have a chance to examine, analyze the contested political nature of heritage. We'll see how heritage reflects contemporary notions of history in the past, and we'll discuss current issues across heritage studies. To help us in those discussions, I've chosen some textbooks. My sense in assigning readings in my classroom is that we engage in dialogue with the authors. And so the first book we're reading, Heritage Critical Approaches, is a textbook. It's the Received Scholarly Overview of Heritage Studies. We'll then go to New York City and look at the African burial ground. A scholar, in this case an art historian, looking at a heritage location, its history, politics, and representations. And then we'll read The Cooking Gene, and we'll look at how someone makes a living from heritage. We'll look at a journey from cooking and teaching Hebrew school to a blog, a TED Talk, a James Beard award-winning book, to National Geographic and more. And so we'll think about what people are doing when they look at places and how they enact heritage in the present. Those books do mean we read a lot. There's also going to be articles and book chapters and videos and websites to look at. And it's basically because I believe strongly that if we're going to do a study of heritage studies from an anthropological perspective, you need to have a broad view. And so the readings give us that. You'll see that we'll be global as we examine and wrestle with issues. And I hope the result is to see that there's some forces at work around the world, and that we're seeing some commonalities and differences because of those global systems. We won't shy away from one of the most important aspects of heritage is that it's increasingly personal and technological, that there is a tremendous wave of interest in genealogical studies, in DNA studies, in what, as this website says, discover what makes you uniquely you. And we'll try to figure that out and I hope we build a nice classroom dynamic where people can feel like they can share some personal as well as observation on others. As a course, I'll ask you to do several things. One, I'm a stickler for attendance. Monday and Thursday, 12:30 to 1:50. I'll expect you in the classroom in College Hall 214, and you come having read the scholarship, thinking about the issues, being able to discuss them in class, and be able to integrate what you observe and experience with the course concerns. I have a whole series of small-scale projects listed on the syllabus and on this slide, right? Locating an example of tangible heritage, working on the emotional aspects of the past and the present, response to that book on the African burial ground, another response to the book on the cooking gene. We'll have a class discussion about the campus because it's a historic campus and fits within heritage. And then we'll end with a very short presentation by you all, communicating the significance of heritage for a government forum, because today heritage is an official, legal, governmental process. My approach is you come to class with enthusiasm for the issues and scholarship, and that my courses, including this one, are always about you. That it's not about we have to cover this or that, but that we get as much out of the issues as possible. I want you to co-create our understanding of heritage over this semester. The college seems to like this course. For some students, if you've been a student in New College, you have LAC requirements, the liberal arts curriculum, and fulfills diverse perspectives and the social science LAC requirement. For those new to New College, the new program of YCY, it fulfills civic knowledge and engagement, global learning, and intercultural knowledge and competence. It also fits with several interdisciplinary programs, fulfills urban studies, culture and place foundation requirement, and it's culture studies eligible. It's a broad course and it fits a lot of needs. And I'm really happy to have a broad range of students coming in to share different perspectives and provide new insights into the issues that come out of the anthropology of heritage. If, after you heard me talk about the magic of heritage for an empty field that's now a place of celebration, these issues, global and cultural, well, what I'll ask you to do is look at the course canvas, email me, and I'll provide access. If you want to just look at the syllabus, you can find it on my website. The first class meeting will be in College Hall 214. There's a picture of College Hall if you've not been in the historic mansion. That's just about a century old. We'll meet Monday at 12:30. Just come. I'll ask that you read the first two chapters of the Harrison book, Heritage Critical Approaches. You can get a copy of the book at the bookstore. You can find it on reserve at the Cook Library, or go to USF Libraries through your New College ID, and you can find it online for free. As you can see from the title of the class session, Introduction and Approaches, Conundrums and Predicaments, Memories, Amnesias, Commemorations, Misrepresentations. I want to put a lot on the table for that first class.